Hey everyone, it's Nick and Ron with another edition of Ask Ron. We're actually taking a break from our live summit right now to record this Q&A session for you. How's it going, Ron?
Oh man, I'm having a ball.
Our first question is from Yolanda in Michigan. Yolanda says, "Hello Ron, do you teach any information on Airbnb?"
Do I teach any information? No, I don't really have any Airbnbs. Every once in a while we run across somebody that we bring on to teach it, but we don't have anything going currently.
Okay, she heard that it's a short-term leasing situation, but I heard you could make more money because you lease more often. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, Airbnbs are cash flow machines. I do have a lot of students getting into them, and it's not a lease. They rent them by the night, and they are good cash flow. And if you do it properly, there's nothing for you to really do because everything's done for you. Airbnb.com collects the money and basically makes the sale for you, and only takes a small fee for doing that. So it's a done for you business, and no matter where the property is or where you are, frankly.
All right. I know it's more monthly probably, but you got to give up that front end payday, right?
Right. You can't get a big non-refundable deposit if you don't keep the property, correct? But you get the monthly cash flow exchange.
All right. Fernando from Florida says, "I have a single family that I have under contract for $210,000. The ARV is $240,000 and needs about $10,000 to install luxury vinyl planks, paint, install new countertops, power wash, and landscaping. I originally was thinking buying cash less private money and exiting with a tenant buyer. With this hot market, I see some interest in a retail buyer with conventional financing. Is this wholesale scenario? Do I want to record a memorandum of the purchase contract and have the HUD-1 show payment for the release?"
I don't know what you're talking about there, but frankly, I'm not excited about your numbers for retailing. I think he said he's paying $210 and spending $10 on it, have $220 in it, be worth $240. Is that correct?
That's right.
Well, you could just cash out of that real quick. I'd raise the price to $250 though, $249.9, and create some money in it if you want to do it. Or you didn't tell me how you're going to buy it though. See, I don't know how the $210 is paid. Are you taking over a mortgage? If you're taking over a mortgage, you darn sure do not want to replace that with private money. So is the house free and clear or not? I don't know. You didn't tell me. But you're right. There's multiple exit strategies, but I don't really have enough information to tell you what I think would be the right one for you.
All right. Ronnie in Florida says, "In Florida, you can do a subject to with a pre-foreclosure if there is enough equity. Say they owe $185 and the ARV is $230 and their past due is $10,000. Could you take a $25,000 non-refundable deposit with the end buyer paying closing at which you catch the past due up, then do owner financing or lease option?"
You can put a tenant buyer in there, but that back due payments must be caught up at that point. And of course, you're going to take title at that point, so it can all be done simultaneously. But you cannot put that tenant buyer in there with those payments in arrears. So if you're going to put a tenant buyer in there, that answers the other part of your question. I wouldn't sell it with owner financing. I'd just lease option it out.
Okay. Phillip from Oregon has two questions. First one says, "The rehab funding company just requires $30,000 in a bank account that has my name on the account to get pre-qualified to borrow funds for deals, no strings attached. Is there a type of bank account where money could go without funds being withdrawn in order to protect the person putting money in there for the pre-qualification?"
You're asking the wrong person how to borrow money and guarantee debt. You know better than that. I absolutely will not allow you to go borrow money and guarantee debt. And I hope they turn you down flat and kick you out and don't ever let you come back. That's not how you make money in real estate. We do not borrow money and guarantee the debt. You should invest more in getting the proper training and not getting yourself into a great big mess guaranteeing debt. That is the biggest mistake you can make. And I can't answer your question about some bank account because I don't even like your whole plan, to tell you the truth.
All right. His second question seems like it might be more in line with what you teach. When requesting somebody to invest their money to convert into debt for them and to fund my acquisition, rehab, and rental BRRRR process, Is having an attorney write the deal up the best and easiest way to go about it?
You
Or
don't
is the
need an
escrow
attorney
company?
to get a contract on a property, and you don't need an attorney to borrow private money. Now, somebody's got to close the loan, but that's probably going to be you. You can do that even with a title company. You don't even need an attorney to do that. So if you borrow private money, you're in control of that process, so you're in control of where it closes.
All right. This question is
And private money, by the way, is not personally guaranteed.
This question is actually from one of our mentors, Tony Pearl, because he gets this question a lot. He says, what are the tax consequences when a seller sells their residence?
Okay. The tax consequences are they're selling their, well, it depends. If they're selling their residence and they're cashing out, there is no tax consequences on their residence. Same with an installment sale, up to a point. I can't remember what that number is, but it has to be a pretty expensive house before they have to pay any taxes on it, as long as they were living in it when they sold it, or within 2 years after they sold it, or moved out, I mean.
Okay. Stephen, no state given, says, Ron, a lady asked me what assurance she has that a contract is protected from problems if the house is in my company's name and mortgage is still in her name. She was concerned that if I died or my company went bankrupt.
So the house, the loan is still in the seller's name. You're buying it in a LLC, and the seller's concerned about the loan staying in her name.
The loan is in her name, yeah.
Okay.
I guess the house would be in the LLC's name,
Well,
or the trust.
First of all, it makes no difference whether the house is in a company name or your name, but you got the same problem. The loan's still in her name. So at that point, your heirs will inherit the house, and they can continue paying it, or they can deed it back to her. And worst case, she could foreclose on it, as long as you're buying it on a wraparound mortgage. And there's no other answer to that question.
Okay, so basically the reassurance is to buy it on a wraparound mortgage so she has the power to foreclose if she needs to.
Oh yeah, always. Yeah. Don't. That's the problem with subject to. She doesn't have that power if you just take over her debt.
Perfect. Stephen.
Now, you might want to check with your attorney, because you might be able to put a deed in escrow back to the seller. But I tell you, I doubt that's going to work, because a deed is no good. If you record a deed after a death, that deed is void.
Stephen from Texas says, which option works best in Texas? How do I do business in Texas?
Buy with owner financing and sell with owner financing. You'll be buying with an all-inclusive deed of trust called a wraparound deed of trust.
Logan from Florida. I have a seller who will sell for what they owe, but they have a HELOC on it showing as their second mortgage. Mm-hmm. I'm worried about the loan getting called due. What is the best way to buy a house that has a HELOC on it?
Well, first of all, if you buy that house, you probably shouldn't plan on it being a long-term deal. But I don't have any problem buying a house and wrapping a HELOC. Better sure tell the seller to make sure that they don't tell the bank, because the bank could call it due if it's a HELOC. That's a home equity line of credit. But I'm not worried about what the bank does. So, my attitude is a little bit different than, I guess, most people, because I'll stop them from calling a loan due and protect my rights as well. But if I did take over a debt like that, or bought it on a wrap or whatever, I would probably be looking for a shorter term exit to get everything paid off. In other words, that might be one that I would just buy, get some equity in it, and then turn right around and sell for cash in today's extremely hot market, and then it's a moot point. Everybody gets paid off anyway. Or if I put a tenant buyer in there, maybe I'd give them 1 year to go refinance it.
Okay. That's all of our questions for this week.
Okay.
We do have a couple of virtual events coming up. Did you want to talk about any of those?
All right, well, I'll let you talk about it more. We're in the middle of one right now, but the time they listen to this, well, they'll be getting this on Friday. We'll be in the middle of our last day, so.
Yeah, it'll probably be too late then to tune in. But next week we got our Quick Start Real Estate School, and that'll be virtual.
Yeah.
The last one we did was live in person in Jacksonville, and that was a lot of fun. And we'll do a couple months of virtual, and then we'll go back to live in June. We've got a Paper Power Bootcamp that we're doing in June as well, and we're going to do that virtually.
Which is free.
Free, yeah. So we'll put the link below if you guys want to register for Paper Power. What's paper, Ron?
Paper is mortgages or deeds of trust on property, and liens and judgments on property. And you'll be taught how to make money on current loans and on defaulted loans. I love defaulted paper. You're also going to be taught how to sell a house with owner financing and then sell off the note for cash then. And the guy who's going to buy that note is the guy that's going to be teaching it, my friend Bob Leonetti. Don't miss Paper Power, especially since it's free, because we usually charge $3,000 for this boot camp. and this is the only time we're going to play it, maybe ever, but certainly this year. And it's all about the paper that's attached to real estate, which is a multi-billion-dollar industry within the industry.
All right, well, that's all I got.
Okay, see you guys next week.
All right.